Well, this roaring rally continues, 2,500 plus on the Bank Nifty and counting. Just a reminder, in the next couple of minutes, we should hear from the Finance Minister as well, because that press conference will be underway anytime. It's supposed to start after 3 o'clock, so we're watching out for that. But let's keep the conversations going in the meantime, and we have Aditya Narain now joining in to give us his take. Aditya, good afternoon. What a reaction in the market, a huge sigh of relief. But beyond the relief, I want to start by first asking you what you made of the higher capex numbers and whether that's going to sort of fuel a more prolonged rally, particularly in the cyclicals.
Yeah, so I think in many senses, the big thing about this budget is that it's not only about this year. I think what you've seen is really a change in the approach. You move from typically a more contractionary policy to a more expansionary policy. I think that's very, very material. I think the fact that they've laid out a fiscal path for the next 5 years, I think that is what effectively tells you that this thrust that you are seeing now will be sustained for an extended period of time. And to me, that is what is providing the biggest backdrop to this rally and to this budget, which is that it is a change in approach for the medium term, unlike budgets which are typically seen in a year's context. And I think that is what is material, that is what is probably well above expectations. And that is what can sustain this rally for a longer period of time. Now, that doesn't mean that, these things have gone up 8-10% today. They'll continue to go up over the next month or so. There will be a leveling off, leveling off, as it were. There will be a period of time, 3 to 6 months, where the market will wait for actual delivery or actual spend to start happening. But given that this budget generally is a more transparent budget than we've seen in many years, I think that faith should actually fundamentally start coming through.
Okay, Aditya, hi, good afternoon. So just to take Surbhi's point forward, it seems like the government has now moved from, survival mode to growth mode, right? I mean, that's what this budget tells us. It's made a very, very strong push for growth with a sharp increase in capex, especially in the infrastructure basket. As a stock market observer or stock market investor, how do you reposition your portfolio now? Do you put more money into the capex stocks, the L&Ts of the world? Do you look at more consumption? I mean, what would the reset look like for you, say, over the next 6 months?
So in many ways, I think we were, from our model portfolio perspective, we were reasonably well positioned. About a month back, we'd gone pretty aggressive on the financials and the industrials. So to some extent, that is something that we will continue to hold and I think continue to kind of diversify. I think the issue is going to be, you've been playing the frontliners, the largest and obvious beneficiaries. Do you start moving into the next level? Because if the macro theme does play out, then the real gains from an extended period of time will tend to filter down. So I think that's one element of it, that, sectorally we are positioned fine. When do we start making the move to actually move down or take on a little bit more risk and a little bit more growth in that space? I think as far as the consumption side goes, again, I think that's a space that, we've been a little neutral to negative on from a portfolio perspective. I think that will stay that way. What's really happened with India in the last 5 years is that it's been a very heavily domestic consumption story. I think that trend is going to fundamentally reverse. And now you're going to see more of an investment, and I would actually argue an international push, which is how we would, kind of position our portfolio for a more sustained period of time.
Okay, Aditya, stay on. We have more questions for you. For now, let's address how to trade this market as well, because, there'll be a lot of people. Of course, today you would have traded on the long side, you would have made a lot of money. But the question that you will be asking yourself is whether you want to carry these positions, or do you want to square off the gains here? And if you missed out on a day like today,